2022 meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Alcoffer. Mr. Alcoffer is present. Mr. Baines. Mr. Baines is present. Mr. Johns. Mr. Florio.
Here. Is
Mr. Chairwoman present, and Mr. Frazier is excused.
there anyone signed up for the public forum?
There is not.
Is there anyone present who is not signed up to speak who would like to address the committee at this time? Seeing none, the next item on our agenda is a presentation by Mr. Robert Franklin, Chief Financial Officer, who's here to present the 2023 proposed Monroe County budget as it pertains to the Planning and Economic Development Committee. We will have questions and answer session after the presentation. Thank you, and take it away, Mr. Franklin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a moment to warm up the projector again. Best laid plans. Thank you for the pause, Madam Chair. Other than this will be the shortest presentation of the entire budget season. Within our planning and development funding, there's really just three primary sources for how we fund planning services. First is our real property taxes that funds just over half of the department's operations. Our community development block grant funds about 30% of the office. And of course, you may know we get reimbursements from Comida and Monroe County IDC. They pretty much fund the rest. Just a very small dollar amount in grants. Planning and development is essentially a maintenance of effort budget. Overall, their appropriations are increasing by $340,000. Offset by a small increase in revenue of $107,000. Employee retention bonuses for planning accounts for about $40,000 of the $224,000 increase in payroll, while fringe benefits increased by another $76,000. So together, payroll and benefits are $300,000 of the $340,000 increase in appropriations. I'd like to note that the number of authorized positions within planning is going to increase by about 4.5 FTEs, 2 of which are expected to be fully funded by our ARPA funds for project management and federal reporting. I think you know, but I'm going to mention here anyhow, that the 23 proposed operating budget does not contain any ARPA funding, appropriations, or revenue inside it. All ARPA-related appropriations and revenue will be handled under separate referrals and addressed by the full legislature at that time. Madam Chair, I hope that is a record performance other than the small delay.
Thank you very much. Very good. As soon as Mr. Franklin sits down, if there are any questions with regard to the budget. Yes. Legislator Alcoffer.
Okay. Does the Department of Planning and Economic Development have any federal or mandated services budgeted?
Madam Chair, we have not been focusing on mandated and non-mandated costs on a department level, so I don't have that information. We'll try and pull that together before this full legislature meets in December.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin.
Yeah, Madam Chair, through the chair and to the budget direct,
Yes, legislator John.
through the chair and to the budget director. I just wanted to know, what is the reasoning behind combining economic development and workforce development divisions?
Madam Chair, the combination of the Economic Development and Workforce Development Divisions took place in 2021. This was a result of, we eliminated a Workforce Development Manager position owing to the fact that our pass-through dollars from the New York State Department of Labor and the Federal Department of Labor go directly to Rochester Works. Monroe County is the sole grantee of the funds, but the dollars go directly to Rochester Works. So through a contract, Rochester Works performs the vast majority of our workforce development services, and the workforce development programs that we administer in the department are funded through COMIDA and MCIDC. And that's the reason for the combination of the two divisions. There really wasn't a reason for workforce development to have its own division. All the services kind of are combined, and we work directly on a regular basis with Rochester Works to perform services such as job fairs and employment services to businesses.
Madam Chair, through you and to the administration, then, what would you say the dollar figure is by streamlining and combining? What dollar figure are we saving per year?
That through Madam Chair, I will have to get back to you with specifics. I don't believe it's a terribly significant dollar amount, but I will provide more information through the administration to answer the legislator's question.
Madam Chair, I do remember that budget consolidation of those two divisions. And if I recall correctly, it was not done to effectuate a cost savings in the budget, rather streamline the management of those previously disparate divisions into one manager.
Okay, well, yeah, that sounds good, Madam Chairman. And through you, Madam Chairman, to the administration, this is tangential to that. The City Place currently holds the office of Genesee Finger Lakes Regional Planning Council. Are there any plans to relocate them?
Madam Chair, currently there are discussions underway about the relocation of the GFLRPC offices within City Place, not within the Department of Planning and Development. However, we're at capacity, but there is other space in City Place.
Okay, no further questions.
Yes, legislator Baines.
Madam Chairwoman of the administration, what would be a key metric that the Planning and Development Department would track to determine the efficacy of our efforts? And based on that key metric or key metrics, how are we doing?
Madam Chair, we track our performance through a number of economic development projects. If the legislator is referring directly to economic development, the number of projects, the capital investments associated with those projects, the number of jobs, new jobs created per project, and the number of jobs retained, and how we're doing based on those KPIs, we're doing quite well. We actually, in 2021 was our, actually, excuse me, 2022 has been our biggest year on record in terms of projects, the capital investments tied to economic development projects. And we're also exploring ways to improve on our performance tracking, looking at issues of equity and communicating with partners, including Greater Rochester Enterprise, the Chamber of Commerce, and Rochester Works.
Thank you.
Any other questions with regard to the budget? Yes, Legislator Johns.
It looks like the cost has gone up about 110,000 a year. I just wonder if we have any other grants coming in or outside sources of revenue coming in to fund that difference.
Madam Chair, may I ask for clarification on what item is being referred to?
On page 625, Revenues, Planning, Community Development, there's an increase from 22 to 23, from 754 to 861,000 in changes to grants. I was just wondering where the extra money is coming in from.
This is through, Madam Chair, this is community development. The funds come through the Community Development Block Grant Program administered by HUD. And those are determinations made at the federal level based on demographic statistics.
Thank you so much. No further questions. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I could just clarify, at least for community development funded by the block grant, there is no net local share to that particular division.
Thank you. Are there any other questions on the floor? Not, I do have one additional question for Mr. Franklin, I believe, and maybe for you. You mentioned, I believe, 2 additional positions that would be created to track the ARPA projects that are being considered. Are those contract positions, or what will happen to those positions when the ARPA projects are complete?
Madam Chair, the hope is that through the sustainability of the programs that we plan to create through the American Rescue Plan funds, that those jobs would become permanent. But at present, we're looking at those positions definitely being on the books through the end of 2026, hopefully beyond that point. But I don't know that we have a hard and fast plan yet as to the sustainability of those positions.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions, we will move on to the agenda. And the next item is the approval of minutes. You have the October 25th, 2022 minutes before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. Are there something here? Oh, sorry. Next item on the agenda is new business. Mr. Clerk.
Referral number 22-0390. Authorize a contract with Monroe County Industrial Development Corporation to support economic development activities in Monroe County.
Moved by Legislator Elkauffer, seconded by Legislator Johns. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, item carries. Next item.
Referral number 22-0391. Authorize a contract with County of Monroe Industrial Development Agency for economic development activities, staff services, and office expenses.
Moved by Legislator Johns, seconded by Legislator Elkauffer. Is there any discussion? Yes, Legislator Elkauffer.
In the town of Gates, have the Gates Chamber of Commerce. You're very familiar with that, okay? In the past, when people come in or businesses come into the town of Gates, some of these are short-term businesses. They open up a restaurant, it's like that. I don't know if they have the planning or the foresight that is needed to open up a restaurant and they close. Is this something that your department could help with, the sustainability to guide these businesses?
Madam Chair, thank you to the legislator for the question. Yes, absolutely. We are ready to assist businesses like the one that you're referring to, um, access resources throughout the county and the region to um, promote their sustainability. We are, through the American Rescue Plan, intending to hopefully launch a micro loan program for small businesses in the new year. Businesses like the one that you're talking about that need access to capital assistance right away and might not have strong banking or legal relationships. So that's something that we're planning on hopefully introducing in a partnership between Monroe County and the Monroe County Industrial Development Corporation, which is a certified development corporation and administers an SBA 504 loan program. Further, we are also working with Comita's board of directors to create a small business liaison position. If indeed the microloan program is introduced and stood up in the new year, we would need additional staff resources to administer the program. So we've been discussing tentatively hiring somebody to focus directly on small business outreach and small business relations. But it's a great question. And Comita's traditional programs, incentive programs, don't. Those types of businesses don't qualify for our traditional incentives. So we are looking to innovate and create new programs to meet the needs of smaller mom and pop Main Street businesses like restaurants and service-based, the service sector. A lot of those businesses were impacted positively through our Fast Forward Monroe grant program that we funded with CARES Act money. But I hope that this response addresses the legislator's question.
Through the chair, I have another question for administration. I think this is great. What I would like to do is expedite this. When a business or an individual comes into the Town of Gates Building Department to apply for a permit, whatever it may be, a coffee shop, I'd like to have some information present at that moment so we can give them to address their concerns, help them along the way. They got to know what they're getting into, I've seen it in the past. Just about a year ago, a person came in, opened up a dress shop, a women's dress shop, and it folded. It really did within the year. It just never made it. They need a business plan, and I'm thinking that's what your staff, your office could help us with these people trying to open up, succeed with their businesses.
Legislator Alcoffer, can you just bring the mic a little closer?
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Madam Chair, I'd like to thank Legislator Alcoffer for the comment. The Department of Planning and Development has actually just recently put together some new marketing materials, some folders in which there's materials for business owners where they can learn about county programs. We also work directly with partners at Pathstone, at the New York State. There's a network of small business development centers throughout the state. Ours is affiliated with SUNY Brockport, so we can make those referrals. But I'd be happy to get a stack of our marketing materials and share them with the Gates Chili Chamber of Commerce and other interested organizations in Monroe County.
Yes, through the chair, I thank you for that. That would help me out tremendously. And if you could send some directly to me, I could put them in our planning department for the Town of Gates. So when people come in to apply for permit, whatever it may be, we can give them and try to give them the guidance right from the first get-go through your office. So I thank you so much for what you're doing for the businesses in Monroe County. Greatly appreciated.
Through the chair, thank you so much, Legislator Alcoffer.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Item carries. Next item.
Referral number 22-0392, authorize a contract with Greater Rochester Enterprise, Inc. for general operating expenses.
Moved by Legislator Alcoffer, seconded by Legislator Johns. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baines.
Madam Chairwoman, to the administration. What other municipal entities contribute to the Greater Rochester enterprise?
Madam Chair, all 8 other counties in the Greater Finger Lakes Economic Development Region contribute to GRE as board-level investors, as well as the city of Rochester.
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, would we know what the city of Rochester is contributing?
Madam Chair, the city of Rochester is contributing the same amount. In previous years, it's been $50,000. This year, we've been asked for $54,000, the $4,000 increase being tied to a capital project. They're seeking to make some improvements at their office space over at the Five Star Bank building. But we're on par with the city of Rochester in terms of Monroe County's contribution to the organization.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Item carries. Are there any other matters to come before this committee? There being no other matters, the November 28, 2022 meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee will be Monday, December 19th, 2022 at 5:45 p.m.